I'm sure most of you have heard about making money by flipping homes. But how many have you heard about flipping gas stations for big profits? Well, it is a common business for some folks, and they usually get paid very well. Let's find out what it takes to flip a gas station for profit.
Welcome to the one and only Gas Station Business 101 podcast, where you can learn all the secrets about how to start and operate a gas station business successfully and make money. This podcast is brought to you by the good folks at CSB Academy Publishing Company. And now, here is your host, Shabbir Hossain.
Welcome to Gas Station Business 101 podcast. I'm Shabbir Hossain, and this is episode number 47. This is the show where we discuss how to start, run, and grow a gas station business successfully. And I give you an inside look at many of the real-life case studies so you can follow and be successful at this business. Today's episode is rather an interesting one. It is interesting because this is unusual and I have not touched on this type of topic in last 46 episodes. This idea of this episode came from a gentleman named Mo. Mo sent me an email about a month ago asking me about this very topic of flipping gas station business. As he said, he found an opportunity to take over a store for very little money. I did answer his questions via email. No, I didn't make him wait about a month. I did send him an email and replied to the questions that he had for me. And I haven't had a chance to get back with him to find out if he actually bought the store or not. But that idea, that email that I got gave me the idea to have an episode on this very topic of flipping gas stations for profit. And I figured most of my listeners are either already in this business or about to get into this business. So I believe most of you can benefit from listening to this episode because there will be a time when you will have a chance where you will see there is a store that's in distress and somebody is ready to get out and you have a good opportunity to take over that store and flip it for a profit. So in order for you to do that, you need to know how to do it, what it takes to flip a gas station business. And that is the topic we'll discuss today. As I said at the beginning, that most of us already know someone who flips home for a living. I'm sure you have somebody you know who buys and sells homes, especially those foreclosed homes where they do some repairs and then they sell the house for a little bit of profit or sometimes big profit. Well, flipping a gas station is essentially the same idea. You buy a business that is under distress or that is not doing well and the owner is suffering for various reasons. So he or she wants to get out and you go in, buy the store, give it a turnaround and improve the business and then sell it for a good profit. And there is a growing market where people buy and sell gas stations nowadays because it's a very hot commodity. When I say commodity, it's not really a commodity, but it is a business. And it is a hot type of business because it's in demand. People know that this is one of those recession-proof business where they never go out of style. So a lot more people are getting involved and looking into gas station business. And that is why the market is growing as far as how to buy and flip a gas station for profit. So let's say if you're a newcomer in the industry, you don't want to buy a station that's already losing money, even if it is a good deal, because you know if you get into it and you don't have the expertise, you may fail miserably, even though you paid less for it because it's losing money. So what ended up happening is those are the stations that the flippers buy, they improve it, and then they sell it to somebody who's new to the market and make a good profit. So if you are in the market, you're already running a business or you're about to get into it, let's see if we can talk about enough substance where I can give you enough information that you don't need to start flipping the very first time you get into gas station business, but maybe in 6 months to a year, when you feel comfortable running your own business, you can look into doing a flip or two and make some extra money. But if you want to do this business the right way, there are few very key points you need to measure first and make sure you fulfill all those requirements. It can be a risky business. You can pretty much lose a lot of money. So you have to be very careful. But if you do it right, the payout can be huge. So let's talk about the 6 key factors to consider and analyze before you decide to get into this business. The factors such as, number 1, what type of gas stations are better for flipping? Remember, as I said, the business has to be under stress, meaning the business is not generating enough revenue. At the same token, it's not generating enough profit for the owner, and the owner is under stress to get out of that business because he or she is losing money every month. Those are the business that are ideal for flipping. If you try to buy a station that's highly profitable, doing very well, looks great, they will ask for a premium price. Once you buy something at a premium price, how do you think you're going to be able to sell that at even higher premium price? Well, even if you're successful in selling it, I don't think the margin would be that great. Let's say you bought a thriving business for $1 million and you paid top dollars for it. Do you think you can ask $1.3 million and get away with it? I highly doubt it. So if you try very hard, let's say you sold it for $1.05 million. Let's say you made $50,000 out of it. Is that hassle that you just gone through to flip this station, is it worth it? I don't think so. Because I haven't said that, but I will, which is flipping doesn't happen overnight. You can't buy a station today and flip it tomorrow. It's a longer process. It takes a while for you to transfer everything under your name and then operate it, make it profitable, and then sell it again. It can take months. We'll get into how long it takes to flip one, but understand this, that ideal gas stations that you need to find that you will be able to flip and make a profit has to be a gas station that is for sale at a very discounted price. Why it is at a discounted price? Because most likely there are issues with that gas station. It could be a lot of different things, and we'll discuss every one of them in a minute. But first, as I said, need to understand that the store that are for sale under its regular price means it's undervalued. There has to be a good reason for it. So first is find a store that is under stress, under distress, that is not doing well, and they're offering you a very good price for it. That is the business you're looking for here. Number 2, where and how to find them? Well, good question, right? Where and how? A lot of the times, you cannot find this type of business with a regular business broker because a lot of people know that you cannot sell a gas station or any business for that matter that shows a loss. Any which way you crunch the number, it's losing money. Business brokers often don't want to sell a business like that because when they provide the financials to the prospective buyers, those buyers can see that, hey, this business is losing money, unless the brokers come out and tell you, hey, I got a good deal, which is not doing well because of blah, blah, blah. Let's say, bad management and this and that, but it's going for a very good price. Yeah, they may have one or two such as that. So you can keep in touch with a broker or two and make sure that you tell them that you're looking for a business that is underperforming or under distress, that is losing money, and you're looking to buy that station at a very discounted price. Number 3, who can flip a gas station? I think all of you listeners out there, some of you are still thinking about getting into gas station and some of you are already in gas station business. So who's the ideal candidate to get into this business? Well, as I said earlier, if you're about to get into this business for the first time, this is not a business for you because it takes little bit of know-how, expertise, and skills, which you will develop once you get into your first business. If you are hands-on, you will learn this business very quick. Maybe in about 6 months to a year, you will become a pro at it. And then you can think about getting into this business. Because if you don't know all the tricks and tips and the skills that is required to run a station, then you may lose a lot of money by biting more than you can chew. So stay content, stay put with the first station that you buy. Give yourself at least 6 months to a year. Once you feel comfortable in running your own operation, then get into more. Either you can buy more stores to run for yourself or with hired help where you monitor the business, or you can get into something like flipping business. But as I said, it will take some time for you to acquire that skill set that you need to have to run this business successfully. Number 4 is capital requirements. Well, obviously, you need to know how much money will it take to get into one of these business. Let's say you found a store that is not doing well and somebody told you that the business is up for lease and you can get into it for $40,000 plus whatever the cost of inventory. And you figured, hey, it's only $80,000, $85,000 altogether, which is $40,000 goodwill, and let's say another $40,000 for inventory at cost. I can handle that. But no, that's not the capital you need. You don't need $80,000. You need pretty much double or triple that money. Remember, this is a business which is not making money. Plus, once you get into it, you need to do a lot of improvement to that business. So, it is vital for you to do a budget. You need to pretty much consider that this business will lose money for next 6 months. Do you have that budget in your calculation? It can take $5,000 a month to operate that store. Let's say the total expense, operating expense of that store is $10,000 a month. Just a ballpark figure. And that business is generating enough profit to pay 50% of that expense. Then where is the other $5,000 will come from? Well, it should come from your pocket. And you should have it in your budget, because just because you bought a store that's underperforming doesn't mean the very next day, just because you bought the store, that store will generate enough profit to be supportive on its own. That's not going to happen. So you need to have budget where you can put money into that business to operate that business until the business becomes profitable. Plus, looking at that store, you need to have another budget for improvement. And we will talk about whatever improvement a store may need. But let's say the budget, looking at that budget, that I will set aside another $50,000 or $60,000 or $70,000 to improve the business. So as you can see, if the store, including inventory, cost $80,000 to get into, you may need 3 times that much money, at least 2 times to be on the safe side. But if you have more, or if you have access to more capital, you're better off, because halfway through the improvement process, 3 more months, the store will generate enough profit. What if you run out of funds? What if you just flat broke? What happens to that store? Then all that investment just went down the drain, because if you run out of funds, the store will start going back down again. And then all these improvements are done for nothing. All these work has gone to waste. So be careful about that and make sure you have access to enough capital to sustain the loss that you will be seeing for at least a few months, maybe 6 months, maybe 5 months, maybe 3 months, whatever the case may be. At least in this business, if you get into a situation where you have to worry about money, then this flip will not be a good one, because you will be cutting corners at that point. So be careful about that. Number 5, manpower requirement. Well, I think I've talked about people skill, and the people that you need in your business is a vital point, and a very important part of your business are your people. So regardless of how much improvement you do to a store that you're flipping, if you don't have good people behind the counter or the one that is managing the store. All these expense, all these money, all these investments can go to waste or may go to waste because you don't have good people behind the counter that can attract business instead of running business away from your store. I've seen this happen many times where there were rude employees and rude people, rude management that pretty much discouraged people to shop at that store. So be careful about your manpower capacity and who you are going to employ at that store. Number 6, management skill requirements. Remember, as I said, if you're just starting out, this may not be a gig for you because there are certain degree of management skills that you will need. And what type of management skills? Well, as I said, first, you need to have a good people skill with customers and with your employees. So if you have done any type of retail business already for year, 2, 3, you already know how your people skills are. You know you're good with customers, you know you're good with employees, you treat them fair, then yes, this would be something that can add value to this business. Then again, there are other management skills. For example, your office and your store procedural work that you need to be doing, setting up a system. And again, we'll get into that in a few minutes in details as far as what it will take to improve a store. But you need to first self-analyze yourself as far as, do you have the skill set to manage multiple stores? Do you have the management skill to hire other managers and pretty much be a supervisor where you can take a supervisory role and manage the managers pretty much? So in this way, if you can self-analyze yourself and know that this is a skill I have where I can have multiple stores and multiple managers and I will manage them all. Or in the event you do not have that, you need to be strong enough to admit that and say, I will find somebody or I'll have a partner who has this skill set, who can do this for me. So you don't have to do it all by yourself. If you have other partners, there must be somebody who can do this properly. Because as I said, you have to think of it as a business, and it is a business, but you have to do it the right way. So you need good management skills, along with all the other 5 items that I mentioned. Now, once you analyzed yourself, including how much funds you have, what skills and whatnot, and you know you fulfilled all those requirements, then I'm sure you will go ahead and buy or look for a store rather, and eventually find one that you can buy to flip. And let's say you bought one and you're ready to get into it to improve the business. But first, we need to find out why this business failed. And I'm sure when you were buying it, people told you, the seller told you, the broker told you, or the customers even. But that's not enough. You need to find out the true causes of what the reasons are that this business has failed. There are 5 main reasons businesses usually fail. And over the years, I've sold, bought, and taken over many stores that were failing. So in my opinion, most of those reasons that the businesses failed fall under these 5 categories. And again, there might be many other reasons, but that are not very common. So these 5 reasons are the most common ones. Number 1 is mismanagement. Well, it's a broad topic or subject. When I say mismanagement, it can have a lot of things under that. For example, employees were stealing the store blindly. That can fall under mismanagement because it's ultimately the manager's responsibility, the management's responsibility to keep an eye on the employees to make sure they're doing the right thing and that they're not stealing from you. So there has to be some type of mechanism, some system in place that you can catch people if they steal from you. So as I said, mismanagement is a broad subject, but this is one of the very top reasons that businesses fail. Number 2, lack of competitive pricing and promotion. Now, before I get more into it, let me just say most businesses that fail is not because of one of these 5 reasons, but a lot of times it's a combination of all 5 reasons. And the other 4 that I will mention all can tie back into the management issue as well. So as I said, number 2 is lack of competitive pricing and promotion. Well, whose fault is it? Manager's fault, the management's fault. If you're not competitively pricing your product, then your manager is not doing their job properly. And same way, if you're not promoting your store properly, then your managers are failing you. So every one of these can be tied back to the management or mismanagement issue. Number 3 is lack of merchandising. This is one item that I've seen in most failing stores. I walk into that store and the store hardly has any merchandise on the shelf. You ask for let's say a popular brand of cigarette, Marlboro Light Box. Well, they're out. They only have soft pack. These are pretty much the telltale sign that the business is going 6 feet under. And then you go look at the shelf. You will see some bottles of Coke, but there is no other varieties of drinks. And then the beer shelf is halfway empty. The top selling beers, let's say Bud Light 6-pack bottle, is nowhere to be found. And only the slow sellers are the ones out on the window. So what you're doing is you're cutting your own throat pretty much by not having the product that sells the most. And why they don't have it? Because they most likely are having cash issue, funding issue. They don't have enough money to put inventory back onto the shelf. So again, as I said, that is the one biggest telltale sign if the store doesn't have adequate merchandising. Number 4, store outlook and maintenance issues. Yes, I have seen many times trash is everywhere. The yard is overgrown. Nobody has taken care of the yard maintenance. And then half of the canopy lights are out. A couple of the dispensers are out of order because either the nozzle is broken or whatever the case may be. So let's say the store only has 4 fueling points, meaning 4 cars can pump at one time. Out of that 4, 2 of them are out of order. So you're only running at 50% capacity. That is pretty much you're cutting, again, your own throat by not having all 4 fueling points working at the same time, because at rush hour, what are people going to do? They will have to wait behind another car or go to another station. So there are issues, as I said, when a business is failing and they don't have enough cash to fix any of these, then you will see problems such as this, even simple maintenance issues. Number 5, change in demographics or change in regulation. Now, this is the last one and the most important one, because all the other ones, you can fix it. This is the only one you cannot fix. So anything falls under this, you should run. You should not buy that store. Let me explain to you as far as what this means. Well, change in demographics, meaning, let me give you an example of a store I had back in mid-90s. The store was doing 140,000 gallons a month. And there was a Navy base about 2 miles from my store. And as I said, we were doing 140,000 gallons a month. So the store was a very decent performing store. I was making good money out of that store. Well, at one point, the Navy base has closed and people moved out of there. Once the base closed, a lot of the other related business got affected by that and they started closing down. So let's say in just 2 years of the base closing, my gas volume dropped down to about 65,000 gallons. So imagine that, from 140,000 to 65,000 gallons. Similarly, my grocery and merchandise sales just went to half. And I knew there was not much I can do, regardless of how much promotion I ran, because there was not enough people to support that store in that neighborhood anymore. So what ended up happening was I sold that store at a very discounted price to somebody who pretty much ran it as a family operation. And they survived and they're still running that store. So as you can see, there was something that was beyond my control. It's a change in demographics. So anything such as that affects a store, they will sell it at a discount price. It may not be a distressed sell, but it's a discounted price because things have gone bad for that store. And there is not much you can do to improve that store. So keep that in mind. When you're looking at stores, you need to do some due diligence and find out if there is a big change that has happened in that neighborhood or not. Number 2 is regulation, or second part of this is regulations. Well, another example, a store that was doing, let's say outside, fuel-wise, was doing 120,000 gallons. It's in a busy corner intersection of a city. And merchandise-wise, they were doing well, about $80,000 worth of merchandise. And I directly dealt with this store, with the owner, helped him sell the store. So I know it firsthand. And he ran that store for 7 or 8 years. At one point, a couple of years ago, DOT, Department of Transportation, came along and said this road is way too busy for people to just make a left turn to get into this gas station. So we will put a divider right in front of that store so the 4-lane highway can be divided. So anybody that wants to just cut in and get into the parking lot cannot do so. They have to go to the traffic light and make a U-turn or a left turn to get in to this store, because they thought, or they said, there were multiple accidents that has happened when people try to just make a quick left turn to get into this parking lot. By putting that median in between the 4-lane, by putting that divider, they cut the business from 100,000 down to about 55,000 gallons. And the inside merchandise sales from 80,000 went down to about 45,000. So 50%, almost 50% of that business was gone just because of that small divider. Just imagine that. So this is a change in regulation by the government that caused this business to go down drastically. Well, these are the things nobody can help by doing anything to prevent this. There's not much you can do. These are the situation. If you find a store such as this, my recommendation is you're not going to be able to improve much of it, because nothing has gone down in that business because of a fault of the operator. So if the operator hasn't done anything wrong and it is an external factor such as regulation or demographic shift, then there's not much you can do to improve the business. So let's not waste your money or time to get into businesses such as that. So be careful and remember to do the due diligence to find out if these are the reasons that a business has gone down or not. Okay, now that you know, let's say, hopefully you know by now what caused the business to go down. And if it's any other top 4, not the 5th, if it's any of the top 4, which are management issues, lack of competitive pricing or promotion, lack of merchandising, store outlooks, and maintenance issues, then you need to take a comprehensive approach. Let's say you found out it's mostly the mismanagement issues that caused it and lack of merchandising. I don't want you to just fix those 2. Fix all 4. Even though you may say, I think the maintenance-wise it's fine, the store outlook is fine. No, you need to take a comprehensive, complete, total approach. So the store can come back like a new store. You need to give the idea in people's mind, in your customer's mind, that something has changed in that store. And how can you do that? Well, you can do that by a lot of different ways. Let me tell you the 6 most important improvement that you can make to a store that you're about to flip. Number 1, fix any and all maintenance issues. Well, of course, if your pumps are not working, if your bathroom is out of order, if your ceiling is leaking, roof rather, is leaking, fix all of those issues. If you have broken tiles on the floor, sales floor, fix that. Lighting issues, fix that. Whatever it takes, make it clean, nice, and neat, and fix all the issues, of course. Next, number 2, update fresh outlook on a budget. What does that mean? It means don't spend millions of dollars, don't spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to do an outlook change by, let's say, if you have vinyl siding on that store, you're going to start putting brick to make it look like a brand new store. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying make it look nice on a budget. Let's say by planting some flower trees, flower beds, or doing a creative landscaping. Let's say the store is made out of in a way where you can put a fresh coat of paint. Do that because paint doesn't cost as much. Let's say your canopy doesn't look very nice. Change the lights and let's put fresh coat of paint around the canopy, or maybe a different types of logo if it's an unbranded one. But if it's a branded one, you can ask your brand to come and help you re-decal the canopy where it makes it look newer. There are some wraps available from sign companies that they can wrap around the top of the building that makes the store looks much nicer and newer. And as I said, sometimes a fresh coat of paint can go a long way. So anything that you can make the store look nicer, cleaner, and improved, that would give your customer an idea that something has changed in this store, and let me go in there and see what has changed. You need to entice them to come back in. Let's say they have had a lot of bad experience in that store. By going in, the cigarettes were not there, or the beer that they buy wasn't there. And if you change everything inside and nothing outside, some of these people would not even know that new owners came in and things have changed in that store. It may take them 3 months to find out, oh yeah, I can go back there because they have changed. No, do something outside so people can wonder and say, let me go back and see what has changed. Number 3, re-merchandise the store. Of course, let's say the store merchandising was fine, but I still want you to re-merchandise it. Because people get into the habit. I'm sure any and all of you have this same habit. Let's say you walk into a store, a grocery store, every week. You pretty much travel the same path every time to grab your milk and then to grab your bread and whatnot. You pretty much travel the same length and same distance with the same aisle. So a lot of times, if you change around your merchandising, the people that travel on that same aisle every day always sees chips, all of a sudden sees cakes and cookies, may wonder, hey, I haven't seen this before. Well, I need to try this cookie. So you need to trick people. Since they're not going to change their habit, you need to change yours by shifting products around. And this usually, a lot of times, improve business. And that's why most of the big chain stores, they re-merchandise their store every 6 months. And that way what they do is their slower items start moving faster sometimes, and the faster items, if they know that these are faster items, they put it even at a higher eye level where it would move even faster. So you can tweak a lot of these items by knowing what sells most. If, let's say, a candy bar, for example, Snicker bar, you know that Snicker bar sells the most. You can have it in multiple places. So people always can find a Snicker bar. Anything that sells quite a bit, have it in multiple places. So people don't have to wander around and look around, because you know the attention span of most customers in a gas station are only 5 to 10 seconds. So if they cannot find that candy bar in 10 seconds, they will move on. They will not buy it. They will not buy other candy bars because his heart is set on a Snicker bar. So he's not picking up something else. Number 4, innovative and aggressive marketing and promotion. Well, I use the word aggressive because if it is your own store, let's say this is your very first store and you will own this store for years to come. Don't be too aggressive when it comes to promotion, because sometimes a very aggressive promotion can harm you in a way that you will not make much money. You will sell hundreds of cases of something, and best example is, let's say, 2-liter Coke or Pepsi. A lot of times these companies will come to you and say, I will sell you a 2-liter soda for 97 cents each, as long as you agree to sell it for 99 cents each. Well, what is your profit in there? 2 pennies, which is nothing pretty much, right? Well, they say, well, this will bring customers in your store. I usually do that promotion, but only for a very limited time. very limited time. And then what I do is before the promotion is up, I will buy 100 cases, 200 cases, and then sell it at a regular price, let's say at $1.79. So whatever money I didn't make in those 2 weeks that I ran it for 99 cents, I will make it up in next 2-3 weeks because I bought it for 97 cents. I'm selling for $1.79. I do that. So let's say in this type of stores, even if your Coke or Pepsi and other companies didn't offer you that, go ask them if you can run a 2-liter special for 99 cents. Because these are the aggressive promotion that will bring people in. And think about this. Let's say you drink Coke every day and you buy 2 liters from different stores. And this is not a time where they're promoting 99 cents Coke 2 liters. So not very many stores have it. All of a sudden you put a sign out there that says 99 cents 2 liter. By putting that sign, you will attract some new customers that have never been to your store, but they're Coke drinkers or Pepsi drinkers. So these are what I call aggressive marketing, and these are also innovative. So talk to all vendors and come up with any idea you may have to improve the sales of the business by running promotion that you're not making much money, because your goal, remember, is not to make money in this store at the beginning. Your goal is to improve the sales and improve the profitability, future profitability. So, once you improve it, yes, you will make money. But to improve the business, you need to spend some money. And this is what we call marketing expense. Any new business, a lot of big companies spend a lot of money promoting that business. I'm sure you've seen a big company chain store opened up and given away free this, free that. Well, that's cost of marketing for them. It's a budget that they already have. So by doing so, they bring some customers that have never been to that store. And if you can give them good service, good product, and at a decent price, they will visit your store again and again and again. So your goal is not to make money from first day. Your goal is to improve the business. And that's why the marketing approach that you take in flipping a store is very different than when you're doing it for your own store. Just remember that. Number 5, well-trained employees. As I said before, your employees can make or break your business, and I do believe it. And I've had that happen to me many times. So make sure when you take over a failing business, if you think there are issues with employees, you need to replace them with some smiley faces that are honest. If you have to pay them higher than what you usually pay them, by all means do so. Because remember, an employee that you pay $1 more an hour will cost you $1 more an hour. But he or she, if they're honest, loyal, and they're providing good customer service, that can add $5 to $6 an hour more to your pocket than the dollar you're paying them. So in a way, my strategy has always been pay your employees higher dollar amount so they can differentiate between your job and, let's say, a Burger King or McDonald's job where they get paid minimum wage. And this way they can value this job more than any other job. They don't think in the way that, hey, if I get fired or if I leave today, I will get same job across the street and making same money. No. If you pay them higher wage, they will value this job more and they will provide better service to your customers. So it is important to have good employees when you're trying to build a store to resell. Last one is install a good bookkeeping and a store operation procedure. Well, remember I said store operation procedure. Mismanagement. When we were talking about mismanagement, that's what I spoke about. Let's talk about these 2 things. Good bookkeeping system. When you're trying to build a store for yourself or to flip, you always need to have a good bookkeeping system. Otherwise, how would you know how your business is doing health-wise? So a good bookkeeping system is always necessary. If you don't know nothing about bookkeeping, get somebody who knows or hire a bookkeeper. You need to keep up with your numbers. If at the end of the month, if you don't know how much cigarette you bought versus how much you sold and how much was your inventory, beginning inventory versus ending inventory, then you are in trouble. Always remember this, and I've spoken about this in many episodes. Let's say you start off at $10,000 worth of cigarette on hand on first day of the month. Then you have bought cigarettes 4 times in that month. Every week you bought cigarettes. And you sold cigarettes every day. So you started off with $10,000 worth of cigarette in your store at the end of the month or beginning of next month, which is the first again, which is 30 days later. You do inventory again, and let's say, for argument's sake, you still have $10,000 worth of cigarette on hand, and you bought $25,000 worth of cigarette for that month. But looking at your sales, you only sold $20,000 worth of cigarette. Then what happened to that $5,000? Well, might be a problem. That means you bought more than you sold. See, the situation should have been that you bought $25,000 worth of cigarette, but you sold $20,000, but your inventory, your ending inventory number has gone up by $5,000. So you started off with $10,000 and you ended up with $15,000. Then that would be breaking even, meaning whatever cigarettes you sold, you didn't make any money, which is also a problem. But this looks to me is a bigger problem because you lost inventory along with your profit that you should have made by selling that much cigarettes. So having a good bookkeeping system can tell you all of these. It is important for you to know these numbers. And a good operation procedure. What is an operational procedure? Well, one would be a good shift report that your employees have to fill out every day, every shift. Then you need to have something in place where they will count their cigarettes, in count and out count, to make sure that it matches with their shift report. Because cigarette is one of those commodity that can be stolen very easily. 2 or 3 packs of cigarette, you can fit it in your own pocket. Nobody will know. But the margin is low on cigarettes and the price is very high. So if somebody walks off every day with 3 packs of cigarette from your store, that can truly harm your business. So what we do in every store is we do an in count and an out count, and that has to match the difference has to match the shift report, because every shift report will tell you how many packs of cigarettes were sold, regardless of what register you use, and it has to match that count. So procedures such as that. And then once a week we need to count beer, once a week we need to count this and that and deli. Whatever it is, there has to be some procedure in place for everybody to follow. And that way you know when you're trying to flip a business, people are not robbing you blind, because that will defeat the purpose. So once you successfully implemented each of these improvements and measures, it is time to wait and see the results. Remember this, just because you implemented a good bookkeeping system, a good marketing, good employees, doesn't mean your business will turn around next Monday and you will have all of a sudden quadruple sales or triple sales or double sales. No, it doesn't work that way. It takes time. It's like a tree that you just planted. It's going to grow. But how long would it take to grow? My estimation is it should take, if you do things right, and let's say you've taken over the business today and it took you a month and a half to implement every step of the way, then by the 4th month, you should see quite a bit of improvement in sales. And by month 6, you should be pretty much at the level where you can then think about selling the store. There are stores that may take even longer. So to be on the safe side, I will say from 4 months to 12 months is the time frame that you need to observe. Let's say at the end of month 4, you see that it's growing sales every day. Should you put it on sale that time? I wouldn't, because by then, if you're not losing money, keep it going, because let it grow even more so you can sell it for a higher profit. So let's say month 8, you saw the sales has increased by another 20%. Then do you think it will grow another 20 if you waited another 4 months? Well, I seriously doubt that. It will not grow 20% every 4 months. That would be pretty high expectation and unreasonable expectation. So once you see that it has grown to a point that it can make a decent profit, you can make a decent profit by selling it. Time for you to list that business for sale, and make sure to price it in a way where you're not pricing it out of the market, but at the same token, you're not selling it too cheap. Stay with the market. Before you list the business, make sure you do some due diligence as far as what businesses are for sale in your area and what businesses are recently got sold for how much. And if you can find out their numbers, like the stores were doing 100,000 gallons, 50,000 inside, or 50,000 or 70,000 merchandise, 70, 80,000 fuel, whatever that is, you try to match it with your store's number and then come up with a valuation. And remember, I have an episode dedicated on valuation as well. And there is a book that I will mention in a few minutes that I have published, and I think I told all of you about that a few months back. But again, you can look at that book and come up with your own valuation based on the suggestions that I've made in that book and an episode. I don't remember the number of that episode, but I'm sure if you go through, you will find an episode where I talked about how to come up with a valuation for a gas station. So those are the steps that you need to take and come up with the right valuation after you reach a point where the sales are comfortably decent, that you can sell the business for a profit. Once again, a big thanks go to Mo, as he's the one who came up with this topic. So this episode is fully dedicated to Mo. If you have any question, feel free to send me an email at shabbir@gasstationbusiness101.com, or you can post it on my Facebook group by going to shabbirhossain.net. This is a domain redirect that will take you directly to my Facebook group. Lastly, if you're about to buy a gas station for the first time, make sure to read my book, Gas Station Business Smart Startup. How to measure profitability, how to come up with a valuation, how to calculate ROI, how to write a business plan, and how to get financing for your new venture. You can find this book on most all retailers, including Amazon, Apple, iTunes, Kobo, Smashwords, and Barnes & Noble. Because I know since we're talking about gas station flipping, there are a few things you may need to verify and check to make sure that those are in line when you're looking at these gas station businesses. And that book has a lot of tools that can help you. Don't forget to sign up for my very important newsletter. You can simply sign up for it by going to gasstationbusiness101.com/subscribe. And if you go to my show notes on gasstationbusiness101.com, you will see in this show note, I have all these links that we talked about, and you can just click and they will take you to the right place. Thank you once again for joining me in this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.
This has been the one and only Gas Station Business 101 podcast with your host, Shabbir Hossain. This podcast was brought to you by CSB Academy Publishing Company. Be sure to join us next time as we share with you the secrets about how to start and operate a gas station business successfully and make money.